Yeah, I love when that number, like, gifts, of course, are nice, but that is my favorite thing ever. When that like button goes up and up and up, that's like my favorite thing. Hi, Lewis. So, yeah, thank you for liking the live. Please continue to like the live because it makes me happy. Hi, Hook. Should I just keep my face like this? No, I can't talk like that. Never mind.
I'm stuck in an unending hell, fantasizing about a man I can never.
I'm looking for.
This company is taking my full willpower.
Walk by.
Guess what? That's this window.
Have you guys ever seen those like
Experience you had with these boys, but they about to
movies that they have, and they're like kind of
Guess what?
not even that good, but they're so easy to binge watch. Right now, she just walked in on her dad's best friend in the tent because it was her dad's wedding, basically. And
Are you touching yourself, thinking about me?
that's crazy.
What? No.
So yeah,
Why are
she's
you
like in
in
love with her dad's best friend.
Get out.
You're
And
not gonna get out of
it's
this
kind of
Jesse.
crazy. Hi, Purple
You can't
Maze.
call my name, let me see that, and still pretend you don't have feelings for me?
And he like won't admit that he has feelings. It's kind of like stupid.
What do you want me to say? You want to tell you? Yes, I find you attractive. I'm very attracted to you. But any man would be in their right mind. You're beautiful. You're kind. You're sexy. You check every box. Is that what you want me to do? That doesn't mean that
Hi,
we can be together.
Joseph.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Do you know how happy I am right now?
Oh. Hi, Bisani Gali. How are you?
An important natural gas safety message from
Oh, geez.
Connecticut
Angel?
Natural Gas. Identify a natural gas leak.
Angel.
A
Is Angel in here?
rotten egg
Hi,
or
Mohammed.
light, a hazy white cloud or mist. Sound, unusual hissing or
Hi, the
rustling.
Dreaming
If you
777.
suspect a leak,
Is 7 your favorite number?
immediately and call
Just kind of
911 or
curious.
CNG from
Also,
a safe
what
location.
are you up to
CNG
today?
will respond quickly.
So young, you are. Hi, Karnishka.
Smell,
Hi,
sight, and
Thiago.
sound to
So yeah,
feel safe around
basically
natural
this
gas.
girl is in love with her dad's best friend. She's been obsessed with him since she was like really young, like a teenager. And finally, she gets to work for his company when she turns 21 for like a summer internship. Tell me paranormal things. Okay. When I was younger, I used to live with my grandparents when my parents divorced. And when I lived with them, I lived in the basement. So there was like, it was 3 stories, but nobody really went in the attic. So we used the basement and then like the main story. And on that main story, it was kind of scary. So my brother had his room, and then it was the kitchen, and then there was my room, and then down the hallway would be where my mom is, and then there was like this utility closet. At nighttime, you could literally hear like steps like down the hallway walking, whatever. It was kind of creepy. One night I was in my bed, like, and I had a window right next to my bed and like this little like kind of ledge, and I kid you not, I looked out the window and there was like this coyote, like wolf, but it felt like a spirit of a wolf, if that makes sense. Like it didn't, like it wasn't alive, and it was like a spirit of the wolf, and I got so scared though, and it was like talking to me telepathically, and it was telling me to like come outside, and like I was so scared because there was coyotes behind my house, and I knew that. My grandma would always warn me, like, don't go outside at night. Like, there's coyotes, because we lived, like, around a lot of woods. And so I was like, oh my gosh, why is that? Like, this coyote wanted to eat me. It was so weird. I never had an experience like that again. But then me and my mom tried doing a seance because basically the house was haunted, and before I lived there, before I was born, before my brother was born, and maybe even before my mom was born. Basically, my aunts, so my mom's sister's husband, which is my uncle, they were like staying down there in what was my room. And there was like, remember those box TVs? They're like really big and like heavy. Well, basically one of those with like a VHS thing was on the bottom. And my uncle was in there, and he literally ran out of the room like screaming because he saw a ghost in like the reflection where his reflection was supposed to be. It was a ghost. There's just always been issues. There's always been like paranormal activity in that basement. Every single person like in my family has had an experience. When my mom was younger, when she was a teenager before I was alive, there's like where her room was is like mostly a living room, but before it was her room, it, like I said, it was a living room too. And there used to be a pool table down there, and there's like some lights, and she and her best friend Christina, which they're still best friends, they met when they were in second grade. But anyway, her and her best friend were like on this pool table, and like they were just like joking around, and all of a sudden they got really scared and they put the blankets over them, and they saw a shadow like hover over, almost like the lights were like moving, and then they like opened up things and like the lights were not moving, nothing was there. So that's another experience that she had. And then there would always be like slamming doors in the basement, and just like so many crazy things would happen. And that was like when I was alive, like slamming doors. And then my brother, hi Ellie, my brother had this like what he called a bear chair. What's a flash goal? It's telling me about a flash goal. Okay, pin, whatever, flash goal. So my brother had this like bear chair. It was basically like this teddy bear chair, and you could like sit in it, and it was like kind of like a rocking chair, and it used to sit right next to his bed. One day he was like hysterical, crying, was like, please, like I don't want this chair in my room. And my mom was like, oh, it's not a big deal, like did not believe my brother. And she was like, keep the chair in your room, like you're over exaggerating. Just thought that he was like seeing things, but like just like my experience, like he was definitely not just seeing things, like there was crazy things that went on. Thank you for following, Sylvia, thank you so much. But yeah, he was not seeing things. Anyway, next day goes on, he's like, Mom, please take this chair out of my room. She would not listen. All right, I'll follow you back. There you go. Thank you. Thanks for the support. Of course I can follow you. Oh, your live streaming is wonderful. I hope we can become friends. I've already acted. Oh, I'd love to be friends. Thank you. Hi, Stuart. So yeah, basically a few days pass. Every single day he's like trying to convince my mom, like, please take this chair out of my room. Eventually, like a week goes by, and he like was just so freaked out that he literally took the chair out of his room, and my mom like and me saw it outside of his room the next day. And I was like, Mom, because he was still sleeping, I was like, Mom, why is that in the hallway? Did you put that there? And she was like, no, he ended up putting it there. So that's not the part that's scary. The part that's scary is that, hi, it's back in his room again, like on the 8th day, and it literally moved itself, not into the hallway, but somewhere in his room, and it moved, and there was like scratches on the wall from where it moved, and it wasn't my brother because he was sleeping. And so we wanted to do a seance. My brother wasn't home, he didn't want to be a part of it, and so we're in the kitchen. My mom lights this, it was like a burgundy reddish color candle, and it wasn't like one of the ones that has like glass. It was just like a candle with nothing around it, if that makes sense. And we put it on a plate, and my mom lights the candle. I'm sitting at one end of the table, she's sitting on the other, and we put our hands out like this, and she put her hand in my palm, like each one, if that makes sense. And so we're holding like our hands around the candle, and hey lady, wait for what? Thank you for getting us to 3K likes. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Literally, if there's anything I love, you know, gifts are cool, but I love that. I love seeing you guys supporting me and liking the stream. That's just my favorite thing ever. Listen, okay, I'm listening. Where are you from? I am from the United States, specifically Connecticut. Gonna continue with the story. So we're holding hands, there's a candle in the middle, and we're like, okay. And we're like chanting. I can't even remember specifically like what the chant was, but she was like asking me to repeat after her because she was like the main seance person, I guess. I don't know. I was really young, so bear with me. But my mom's like, okay, repeat after me. And we say all these things. And then the door to the kitchen where we were slams shut. Like, kid you not, the door slammed shut. There was nobody else home. Like we were the only people that lived on this floor. Like, my brother was not home. He didn't want to be a part of it. He was out with my grandpa. So nobody was home. Door slammed shut. Literally everything. There was like a shelf behind the door, like a dark wooden shelf. Everything on that like pantry shelf like started shaking, and it was really scary. And we blew out the candle and we're like, okay, like they're clearly not happy today. Like, we're not gonna do this right now. Like, they did not want to be bothered with. Okay, like we're done with that. Then after I finally told my mom about the coyote that was like going like at my window, because it happened again for the second time, and I was really scared. And so I went out in the hallway and I told my mom, like, hey mom, like I saw this coyote in my door. I know like Mason, my brother's name, he saw some things. Like, I was seeing things too. Like, he's not crazy. Like, I believe him. Please believe me too. Like, there's some weird things going on. And she did believe me, only because of like that door slamming. So she was like, yeah, okay, I believe you. And after I told her about that, the next 2 days, she kept hearing the steps of an animal running up and down the hallway. And then, to make it even creepier, then another day, like I don't know if it was the third or fourth day, but she heard giggling. And remember I told you about the face that my uncle saw? I have so many paranormal memories. Ooh, definitely put them in the comments. I love hearing other people's stories. This is just a personal story that like in my childhood home that I grew up in. But so the same TV that my uncle was seeing paranormal activity in, which became my room, that same little boy that he saw, my mom heard the giggling of that little boy. And there was this other room in that hallway, which is like a utility closet kind of thing, if that makes sense. And like had the utility things I was about to describe to you, like a furnace. But yeah, it had like a furnace and like it was a boiler room, whatever. In there, when you opened it, like you just felt like there's other energy in there. It was just totally how to I told you. You can type it for me. But yeah, very scary, definitely a lot, but
Dad wanted me to.
I don't know. I kind of like that I was able to have these experiences. When we moved into the next house, so my mom ended up meeting somebody who is my stepdad or my dad now, and we moved to another house out of my grandparents' house when she was, saved up money and stuff. And yeah, of course, give me a follow, I'll follow you back. And yes, we moved to this other house with my stepdad, and before we moved in, I was like, there's nothing like creepy with this house, right? Because they did like since we were younger, me and my brother they did a thing where we like did a sleepover at the house. I guess they were trying to make us like comfortable with like moving, since like I think I was like 10, maybe 9. I was like 8 years old, and my brother was 6 or 7. Anyway. Okay, I follow you. Okay, thank you. I'm following you back right now. But yeah, so we're at this new house. We're doing a sleepover. I've made myself like a tent. For some reason, my mom was like pissed off at me. Whatever, that's not the main part of this story. But I made myself like a little like tent over my bed using my blankets. And it was really cute. And I swear I was like hearing like things, and it was freaking me out. We ended up getting a dog when I was, 9. We got my first dog. I think I must have been like 11 or 12. I think I was like 11 or 12. Actually, no, because that's when we got my second dog. I don't know, but we got another dog who passed away at 2 years old. It was like incredibly sad for my family. First death that I ever experienced at a very like young age. He was the best dog like ever. Such a sweet angel. He got cancer though. We had to remove one of his legs, so he ended up having 3 legs, and that didn't work out while we were doing like chemotherapy essentially for dogs, so that way he can move on to like a better treatment. He ended up passing away while me and my mom